Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. If you do not know me, my name is LaTerra Wair. I am a multimedia content creator who focuses on hair, lifestyle, cooking, blogs, all that kind of stuff. And today we are going to be doing a hair related video yet again. I'm no expert in hair, anything like that. I'm just a girl sharing my experience with you. Natural hair isn't dying in a way, but I feel like more recently than anything, I've just been really shown how important natural hair is. Really just giving me this oomph to start creating about it again. And I think about like when I first went natural, because also some of my cousins who were like really little are going through the same things right now, or their moms are going through the same thing, and you just don't even know where to start on your natural hair journey. If you're thinking about doing a natural hair transition or going on your natural hair journey, before you do that, watch this video in entirety. It'll probably answer a lot of the questions that you're probably having, comments, concerns, and it'll let you know that going natural is a lot easier than you think. From one curly girl to another curly girl, let's start. I'm a really big rambler and all that kind of stuff, so I have some notes just on my phone that I took to keep me going, and I got the outline. I'm gonna give you guys just 5 simple steps, tips, and tricks that'll help you begin your natural hair journey. These are also steps that I took myself. This isn't just something that I've come up with and I'm telling you. This is literally everything that I did when I was in the beginning of my natural hair journey. If you guys don't know, this is how my hair started. These were the good times, the bad times, all those types of times. But now my hair is looking more so like this. Do you see the difference between the two? I say all that to say, we're gonna talk about how I got from here to here. The first part, understanding what a natural hair journey is, understanding what natural hair transitioning is. You always wanna ask yourself why, what, and how. 1, why are you transitioning? 2, what do you want to achieve in this natural hair journey? Is your goal to be length retention? Is it to be for the better health of your hair? Which I always suggest is what you do it for the betterment of the health of your hair overall, because that'll be something that helps you in the long run. What you'll grow to learn when you get a little older, what I've learned is it's not necessarily about the length of your hair, it is more so about the health of your hair. Because if your hair isn't healthy, then no matter how long it's gonna get, it's just gonna start to like fizzle out and be like really gross looking. The last thing is, how do you plan to achieve this? How do you plan to keep yourself motivated? Because something about going on any journey, whether it be hair, cooking, weight loss, whatever, it is very hard to keep yourself motivated, especially when you get in those slumps. And that's where like being disciplined comes into mind. So also think with this hair journey or this natural journey, what steps you're going to take into place to keep yourself on track, keep yourself disciplined, keeping yourself wanting to do it. Because deep conditioning, spending that extra 10 minutes in the shower to comb your hair out, that gets annoying and you don't want to do it all the time, right? So just put methods and steps into place and have a goal that makes you think, okay, I will get this done. Maybe you can get an accountability partner, someone else who you also know wants to go on this journey or wants to go on the journey with you, just to be there for you. Look for those people. And also maybe just do like hair update. Set hair goals and just be specific and see how you reach these goals. Make sure that you stay on track. Like maybe every 6 months you're gonna check in and do a length check. Every month you're gonna check in and do a length check and see all that, or do a health check. See if your curls are coming back in at the top from your new growth. The second step, or the second tip that I have for you, is to find out what your hair type and your hair porosity is. These are both very important things, just because when it comes to picking out hair products, a mix of the two come into play. So your hair type is gonna be what is like the curly texture of your hair. You can technically have a type 1, which is usually straight hair, but as far as curl goes, but you can have a type 2 hair, which is usually your wavier, looser, curled hair. You can have type 3 hair, and that's going to be your curly head of hair. Your curls could be from ranges 3A to 3C. being ABC, correlating from looser to tighter within that category. And then your last hair type is going to be type 4 hair. This is going to be your coilier texture, your more ringlet shaped curl. Yeah, this is going to be the hair that tends to have more shrinkage in it. And it's not that your hair is not curling in this state. A lot of the times it's literally just your curls are so tightly sprung. So this is your hair type. On the other hand, you have your hair porosity. You can have low, high, or medium porosity hair. Low porosity hair tends to be hair that it has a harder time penetrating, so your products just take a bit longer to get into your hair. You have to like really use looser products that allow moisture, that allow that like wall, that hair penetration to happen easier for you. You can have high porosity hair, which is almost completely the opposite of low porosity, which is where your products go in and out of your hair very easily. It is not really hard to penetrate your hair shaft and all these things. And then you can have medium porosity, which is just kind of like a mix of the in-between. You can have different types of hair types as well as hair porosities in your head. This is a step that is super important to take, just because once you understand this, it's easier to then get products. It's easier to then style your hair. It's easier to understand what's going on, why your hair isn't reacting to certain things that you may think it's supposed to, etc. Figure out your hair type. You really can just kind of look at a chart and see and identify picture to picture what your hair looks like the most, and just go through different sections of your head and see if all the hair there looks the same. Like for me, the front half of my hair is a lot looser, especially right here, than the back halves and the underneath of my hair. It hasn't always been like that, so it does change over time depending on, I guess, the way you take care of your hair and how it just all kind of evens out. And then to test your hair porosity, the easiest way to do this is to get a glass of water. You want to take out a piece of hair and make sure that it is a clean piece of hair, and then drop it on the top of the water. So let that sit for about a minute, and then it's gonna either stay at the top, which is indicating that you have low porosity hair because the water is not penetrating it. It's going to sink to the bottom, meaning that you have higher porosity hair because the water is penetrating that hair strand. Or if it flows somewhere in the middle, you have medium porosity hair. So the third topic that we're going to talk about is the infamous big chop. So I know that when I was going natural however long ago, that this was still such a huge question. Like, do I have to big chop? I personally did not big chop because I was not secure enough in myself and secure enough in my looks to big chop, and I thought that cutting all my hair off would not help me in any shape, form, or fashion. So I didn't big chop. Instead of big chopping, I just every like 2 to 3 months would cut bigger increments of hair. Doing that, I saw the most tremendous hair growth. This is a photo from when I went back to school after the summer of consistently, like every month. I'm telling you, every month your girl would chop off a couple of inches, right? And my hair legitly was sprouting out of my head. I don't know what it was about it, but yeah, so I didn't big chop. I don't think you necessarily have to big chop, but I will say this. The ends of your hair are the oldest parts of your hair. The ends of your hair, once they are split, they will not be mended back together. I don't care what anyone says. You can do preventative care on your ends, and you can also do things to help your ends from continuing to split further up your hair shaft, because that is also something that you have to be like conscious of, is that your hair will split up your hair shaft. That is probably what is stopping your hair from growing, because if your ends are not healthy, then it's kind of going to just go up the rest of your hair and it's not going to be as healthy, right? Unfortunately, that is just how that goes. So if you don't big chop, you do have to be wary of the fact that your ends may be splitting up, and that could be something that isn't going to necessarily like help with length retention, because they're just going to keep breaking off. If you just go ahead and big chop, or if you just go ahead and cut those ends off and do in bigger increments, it'll then kind of help you a little bit. You don't want a big chop, and this is a true, like, you are going to do a hair transition and just like grow the hair out and cut off smaller amounts of time. Just make sure it's really taken care of. Something that I suggest for you is to find a nice little transitioning hairstyle. So maybe like a braid out, a twist out, something that'll just help you combine your hair textures while your new texture is coming in. I wouldn't recommend so much like always doing slick back style, just because you want to give your hair that breathable room, and when you do slick back specifically, it's not as good for your hair because you have a lot of tension. The fourth step in going into your natural hair journey is simply finding what products work for you. So you don't have to go break the bank in transitioning. You don't have to break the bank in going through your natural hair journey and finding what works for you and what doesn't work for you, especially in the beginning. To start your natural hair journey, what every natural, I believe, needs, whether you're starting, whether you're in the game, true, for real, you are going to need a shampoo. A shampoo is super important because it's something that is going to help you clarify, clean your hair, make sure all that buildup is out. My favorite shampoo right now is the Texture ID Low Porosity shampoo. I do have type 3C for a low porosity hair, so all my product recommendations will be based off of that as well. The next thing you're gonna need is a conditioner. Another conditioner that I would recommend is the Low Porosity Texture ID conditioner. Something about conditioners that you want to make sure that they do have a decent amount of slip, because ideally you will be detangling your hair in the shower, because that's probably the easiest place to detangle, at least for me. The next thing that you should have is a deep conditioner. Deep conditioning your hair is super important, just because it does replenish your hair. It adds in that extra level of moisture, that extra barrier of protection that you will probably need. My favorite deep conditioner, I've used this through and through, I always go back to it, is the Shea Moisture Manuka Honey. Every person should have is a detangling tool. I know you may be going back and forth about, should you finger detangle or should you use a comb, should you use a brush? Use whatever works for you, except for finger detangling. I think that if you finger detangle, that's cool, but I still think that if anything, you should at least run a comb through your hair if you're finger detangling, just because your fingers, while it feels like they're getting a lot of stuff, I just feel like I've more often than not had all the clumps and knots out of my head when I've been finger detangling. I currently am using a wide tooth comb mixed with one of those like detangling separation brushes. I keep saying this, but I want to try the unbrush, so I need to just go ahead and order it and use it to see if my detangling time is any less. The next thing is a leave-in / moisture milk, whatever you want to do. Leave-ins are important just because it's the first thing that is in your hair right after you wash it and strip it of everything that was taken out of it. It's a little priming situation. I don't think I have a favorite leave-in right now. So the next thing that I would say every natural needs on this journey or while you're transitioning is a styler. Stylers can be butters, gels, creams, anything like that, but this is just gonna be the thing that helps you put your hair into a style. My favorite styler by far so far is the Dew Bananas Gel. My tried and true right now, I gotta give it up for her. She's great, I love her. I used to be hooked on the Dew Big Papa Gel, but now I love the Dew Bananas Gel. I think it is amazing. So if you haven't tried that, please go check those out. And lastly, the last tool and definite thing that you need as a person going through your natural hair transitioning journey or your natural hair journey is a bonnet / satin pillowcase. Every single person needs to make sure that they are keeping their hair protected at night. You need a bonnet, you need a satin pillowcase. Normal cottons and everything that are just on normal sheets, they just suck the moisture out of your hair. Me, especially as a low porosity person, that is something that I'm very prone to. So making sure that I am sleeping with a bonnet. I sleep with a bonnet and a scarf, but at least sleeping with a bonnet is something that is very crucial to making sure that your hair is not only moisturized, but healthy feeling. If you guys don't know, I have recently partnered with Bonnet Kit. If you are looking for a new bonnet, please look no further. Go check out Bonnet Kit bonnetKit.com. The link will be down below in my bio. I just got my new order of bonnets. I stumbled upon this brand maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. I think they were great. I love them. My bonnet, she's never done me wrong, but she's a little stretched out now because she's been my tried and true for the last year and a half too. I ordered some new bonnets. I got one in this really pretty yellow color and this really pretty blue color. If you can see, the detail is so nice. They are literally tight on the head, but they don't leave that real bad like mark like when you got the little, you know. If you are looking for a bonnet, looking for something that are affordable, they are super affordable. The quality is amazing. As soon as you take it out of the packaging, you're literally gonna be like, wow, right? But anyway, if you're looking to purchase a bonnet, use my code that'll be down in the bio below, and go to bonnetKit.com and get your bonnet. My last step to you guys as someone who is going through this natural hair journey is to just do your research. So something for me that was super hard is I thought that I could find a lot of quick tips and tricks on how to get my hair to grow. I could find a lot of things on how to make my hair revert faster, how to make my hair curl back up, and there's a lot of hard truths that you're gonna find in that. One being that your hair is not just going to revert back. You're going to have to do some cutting. You're gonna have to let go of some of that dead hair and all that kind of stuff, and that was one of the hard truths that I hated, right? Along the way, I found a lot of things that are very important. Some of the things that would aid in doing your research are things like finding your hair twin. I went online and I found people who have the same hair type as me, and I started there. From there, I learned about hair porosity, and then I found different people who have my hair type and my hair porosity. And from that, I have identified with people. I found that their hair curls are similar to my hair curl needs, and I can use their product recommendations. I can identify with them for similar issues that they may be having, issues that I may be having as a curly girl, maybe some issues that you are having as a curly girl. Don't be afraid to follow those creators. Don't be afraid to look at their product recommendations. Don't be afraid to ask questions. There are so many people who I asked questions to on the early parts of my curly hair journey that I thought would not answer, and then I was super surprised when they did, and I got all the answers that I needed. Make sure that you are also doing your product research. Make sure that you find brands that work for you. I used to have a friend who was super big into brands, right? And she always knew what products were coming out. She always knew what products are coming out. She always knew what product was going to do what brand had this, what brand had that, this and that, all that kind of stuff. And it's something that I wasn't super into. I was just kind of more into like what a product says it's supposed to do and everything like that, and that didn't necessarily help me. But then later on in life, recently, like a year ago, I found brands that I identified with, brands that literally they have the same missions and ideas that I have in my head. One of those brands, all their products, I think that what they are trying to appeal to is what I need. Texture ID, the way their lines are formed, what they are trying to appeal to is what I need. And I never would have known that if I didn't do my research. So do make sure you are researching into your brands, as well as make sure you're researching into people who have some hair types and textures. And the last thing to do research on is just different hairstyles. Finding the hairstyle that works for you and finding the hairstyle that strikes confidence in you is so important. I stopped getting my hair braided for like 10-15 years, and then I started getting my hair braided again maybe like 3-4 years ago. I started with simple like passion twists, and then that turned into box braids, which turned into knotless braids, which turned into bohos and all this type of stuff. And it's just about learning what you like, learning what you feel confident in. Don't be afraid to experiment with different styles. Don't be afraid to try different things out, because some things you may not think work good for you will work good for you. And there's nothing wrong with the protective style. Like I said earlier, make sure that your protective styles are not straining your hair. Make sure that they are making your hair comfortable. Make sure that they're breathable and all that, because don't forget, at the end of the day, our goal is to have the healthiest natural hair possible. With all that being said, those are all the tips that I have for you guys. I hope that you did get a lot out of this video. I hope that you learned a lot in this video. If you have any questions or anything like that, please feel free to drop them in the comments. Don't forget to get your bonnets. I also have some things linked in the bio below for products for promotional hair growth if you want some products that I recommend. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on your post notifications so you get notified when I post. be part of the village, be part of the family. And if you want to stalk and stick around, all of my social media will be right here, as well as linked down in the bio below. And with all that being said, I will see you guys later.